Guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about the infinite banking concept. So the infinite banking concept, it was started by Nelson Nash. Nelson Nash, just watching some of his interviews and just the way he was and the way he thought, he started his career off in the forestry industry. He noticed that while he was in the forestry industry, that while it was somewhat lucrative for that time, that all of his money was being spent on interest and going to the banks and on financing. So, he was huge into geography. He was a thinker. He was a Christian. By the age of 9, he accepted Christ and became a Christian. He was a pilot. At one point, he was the president of the Chamber of Commerce, and he was an author. Nelson, to me, that when this becoming your own banker, when he just seemed to be at the right place at the right time, but also had the right talent and the right mindset for this. To me, it's kind of like him and what he created here and what he is, this knowledge that he has spread is kind of like what Michael Jordan was to basketball, or what Michael Phelps was to swimming, or what Mike Tyson was to boxing, or like Simone Biles to gymnasts. That it was the talent, the knowledge, the right place, the right time, the right personality, the right drive. All of it fell in line for him to be able to create this becoming your own banker concept. He created a book. He authored a book, Becoming Your Own Banker. I would suggest reading this book, and you might have to read it a few times, but really become familiar with the 5 rules that he explained. Those were Parkinson's Law, Willie Sutton's Law, the Golden Rule, the Arrival Syndrome, and Use It or Lose It. I'm not going to go much into those concepts. I want you to read it and understand it for yourself. After his career in the forestry business, Nelson, he worked in the insurance field. This is where he put 2 and 2 together. I mean, he noticed that, insurance, the way it worked and the way money flowed and how all interest was being basically sent to the banks. And that's where the idea just kind of clicked in his head that if you want to become wealthy and you want to live a life, a good long life, a normal life, and not worry much about finances, you need to be the banker. So he noticed that by designing a policy correctly, you could you can beef up that cash value and basically become your own banker. When he just stumbled upon this discovery, he had a drive, an uncontrollable urge to spread this knowledge to the world. So he created the Nelson Nash Institute. On his website, he has a list of agents that has been through his training. If you want to start your own bank, if you want to become your own banker, which is basically like starting your own business, you need to find an agent that understands this concept. There's agents that have been through his course. When I was first trying to start my policy, I went to a local agent that was on his course. His name was on the course, but he was a little bit older in age, and he just he got a little bit irritated when I asked questions. I was new to the concept. I had a lot of questions. I was wanting to understand it. Well, that's when I came across the guys at IBC Global. I was able to ask them questions, and without fail, they would answer every time I had a question. President Steve Parisi, he worked as an insurance agent. He was designing policies. He started off designing policies for consumers, and then he got into designing policies for corporations and learning about how it worked with the big businesses and corporations. I was impressed with the knowledge he and his agents had on the concept. And they were very transparent. There was no pressure. All the questions I had, they answered, and I had a lot of questions, but every single time they sent an answer, and they wasn't real irritated like, the 8 local agent I have. So regardless in which state you live in, I would recommend the guys at IBC Global. Another thing, a lot of people always assume that insurance is expensive, and they assume that you have to pay it forever. And this is in exactly what Nelson Nash talked about a lot. He talked about that, he knew he had a tough fight in front of him, to help people understand how powerful this was and to change a way of thinking that has been around for so long. So, let's basically, if you were to start a policy, understand that all insurance companies are different, but if you were to start a policy, you would basically set your premium. That premium can be anywhere from hundreds of dollars to millions of dollars, and you have complete control over it. You could basically set that premium whatever you want. You could set it for however long you want also. One thing, basically whatever time amount that you set that premium for, that you'll have that many years you're allowed to put into a policy, and after that you're not going to be allowed to put into that policy anymore. So let's say, for example, you wanted a $5,000 premium for 10 years. That means you will be able to put $50,000 into that policy. This includes your PUA, premium, and cash for 10 years. So that's a total of $500,000. After that, you will not be allowed to put any more in. And this is another reason why I like the guys at IBC Global. A lot of people, when they first learn of the concept, they don't have any idea of where to start. The guys over there, they'll help you without feeling pressured to buy a policy. They'll help you design or give you pointers and help you decide on that. When you start a policy, the money you put into cash value, it grows tax-free. So the 4 major mutual companies is a 4% guaranteed rate, and then on top of that, you will get a dividend of 1 to 2% depending on the profits of that insurance company. You can withdraw from your policy as many times as you want. There's no limit. When you withdraw, it works kind of like a 401k. That's how it's able to stay tax-free. So when you make a withdrawal from your 401k, you'll withdraw it, or from your policy, you'll withdraw it in the form of a loan. And then there's no due date. Since you're the owner of the bank, there's actually no due dates to pay it back. But the concept is, when you borrow it, you pay it back on a schedule. You set a schedule, you pay it back to ensure that it's there to borrow again from. Now, when you take that loan out, you're going to be charged an interest rate. That interest rate is going to the insurance company, but the insurance company, if you put in $10,000 and then you took $10,000 out to say buy a car, the insurance company is going to charge you a rate. Usually it's 5% or whatever the company sets, but they will still pay you on that whole $10,000, that 4% guaranteed rate and the 1 to 2% dividend, as if you never touched the money in the first place. So again, guys, you can find information on Nelson Nash's Institute website about the banking concept. But if you want to find information on starting a policy design, the difference in the insurance companies, questions related to how much to start your policy with, and what happens, say, if life happens and you can't even pay the policy. Well, the knowledge that Steve has and his team, they'll answer all those questions for you. And when you request a policy, they even send you a layout on exactly what the policy is going to look like for the life of it. So guys, as always, don't forget to subscribe, click the notification bell so you never miss a video. And if you found value in this video, I would appreciate a thumbs up. That helps the channel to grow, and it helps us to spread this to more and more people. So I'll leave a link in the description below if you want to start your own bank, or if you just want more information, you want to find out more knowledge on it, on how to become your own banker, and just basically how it works. That will take you over to the IBC Global's website, and they will send you information, resources, or anything you need to learn more about the concept. Thanks again, guys. I'll see you in the next video.